Some of the best interviews you'll see on Israel Palestine in this war are going to be on the street with random people. And it happened again. This time in London, there was an interviewer who happened upon a pro Israel rally, and he asked one of the participants to explain to him, the situation, what's going on with the war, why, the conflict, Israel Palestine, what exactly is the cause of all of this, and his responses were perfect. Check it out.
Can you introduce yourself? What's your name?
Max.
So, Max, tell me, I'm declaring I've covered a lot of the protests, but from the Palestinian point of view. So I've covered most of the Palestinian protests. It's important I show the other side of the coin. So tell me from your perspective why you're down here today.
Well, it's interesting that you covered it from the Palestinian point of view, and I'll tell you why. Because there is a difference between the 2 points of view. One's based on truth and history, and the other one is fiction and fraud and lies. So I think that you should change your terminology. You didn't cover it from the Palestinian point of view. You covered it from the Palestinian Arab point of view, because they don't own the word Palestinian. There are Palestinian Jews like my family. So there has never, you need to put that underlying in your information, there has never ever been in the history of time an Arab Palestine. There's been a Palestine, which is a renaming of Israel, but that was never an Arab Palestine. So when people like to show coins and stamps and flags and things of Palestine, they always miss out the fact that it has an Aleph Yud, which is Eretz Israel. It was actually a Jewish Palestine. Certainly wasn't an Arab Palestine. So on that basis, you are not really covering the Palestinian point of view. You may be covering the Palestinian Arab point of view, but actually none of them are actually Palestinian. In fact, I would say that even famously Ismail Haniyeh, who was finally eliminated this week, is Egyptian. And if you look at Palestinian Arabs and their names, you'll find out that their surnames, like al-Baghdadi is from Iraq and al-Mazri is Egyptian. They are not Palestinian Arabs from that part of the land. So if they want to claim an area of Palestine that is theirs, that may well be true. That will be Jordan, which is where the majority are from and are living. So, Jordana, Palestina, which was the area all around, was also to the east of the Jordan River. So that is really where Palestinians come from. It doesn't say that there weren't people from different religions that lived in that land, but I think you have to understand a little bit of truth when you cover it. As an example, there are 150,000 Arabs that lived in that land when Israel declared independence in 1948. There were others that weren't exiled by Israel. They left because they were forced to leave or instructed to leave by Nasser and the surrounding armies from Egypt and others, because they were going to commit genocide against the Jews, and they just failed. The ones that remained are Arab Israelis, and today they are 2.5 million Arab Israelis that live with the Jews and there's absolutely no apartheid. I mean, they serve in the army, serve in the police, serve in the courts, and they even fight in the IDF. So that's really interesting, that narrative. When you look at the 950,000 Jews that lived in Arab lands, they are virtually zero. So that's where ethnic cleansing took place, and that's where apartheid took place, and that's where apartheid still takes place.
So if I can come from my ignorant point of view, let's agree on that. Yeah.
You're not.
No. I know. No.
Can I tell you something?
No. I didn't interrupt you. I did
interrupt. Word. You're not ignorant. You're curious, and that's good. And that's good.
Listen, I'm from the street. Yeah, I'm from the street, and I don't pretend I'm. And I don't pretend I'm not. But can you describe to the people watching, the atrocities that took place, when Hamas came? What was that like for... Do you have family in Israel? Can you explain what that was like?
I have all of my family in Israel. There's 130 of us in my family. I didn't sleep for months. I was scared to phone friends. I will give you an example. I received a voice message 2 weeks earlier from someone I know in Israel who just sent me a voicemail birthday message, which I didn't hear. And then I saw it October 9th, and I messaged him to see how are you, how is your family? Hope everyone is safe. Thank you for your beautiful message. He said, unfortunately, we've not been so lucky again. 6 members of my family were killed in Kibbutz Be'eri. So I've got goosebumps now. One of my best friends out there was at the music festival and only got away because she took a right turn when she got a text message at the main road to say, don't go the normal way home, go right. A car behind her with her friends went left, they got killed. Like, to hear people across this world through social media essentially say that it never happened is beyond ludicrous. But it's the same denial that, like people deny the Holocaust, they would deny October the 7th. So I think to understand Israeli psyche, when people say, have you got family in Israel? Yes, I've got 8.5 million family in Israel. And that is, you know, the respect for life. And by the way, not just ours, theirs exists. You'd never see, whether it's on a march or anyone else, any Israeli calling, or Jew calling for the death of Palestinians. But you absolutely hear it in reverse. That is pretty much why this T-shirt is there. As you can see what it says. You know, from the river to the sea, this is the only flag you're going to see. This is not calling for extermination of anyone, but it is the Jewish state. But I think if you really want to understand something, understand this. The most complicit entity, let's call it entity, out there in the suffering of the Palestinian people is media and press. They are the vital cog in the machine between what happens, for example, in Gaza. So they create an incident, launch rockets, ensure that Israel needs to retaliate to essentially save its own people. The media reports exactly the narrative that they want, right? Because they're not a democracy, they're not accountable. They can say any lie they want. Media will willfully put it out there. A load of money gets sent, and then they steal the money. Whether to build tunnels or whether to live in a 6-star Qatar hotel, that's what the re-up is. That's why every year you have it happening over and over again. So the vital cog in this machine is media and press.
My final question to you, what is the end game? How does it end?
Whose end game? Israel's endgame, or the Palestinian endgame, or the world's endgame? So I can tell you, you need to remove the vital cog in the machine. And that is basically where we started. Lies, false information, fake history, but amplified at a level that people can't understand. So for people that are watching this, I will tell you, there are around 2 billion Christians in the world. There's around 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. There are only 15.2 Jews on the entire planet. That's 8.5 million in Israel, around 4.5 million in the US, and a couple of million or so scattered around the rest of the world. We are tiny. Why am I telling you this number? Bella and Gigi Hadid, those 2 poisonous sisters that have called for genocide against Israel, 85 million followers. So they have 6 times more followers than there are Jews on the planet. Just take that and extrapolate that over all of the news and all of the social media and everything's going on there. We are absolutely swamped. And anyone who watches British press, American press, Western press, social media actually know nothing of the truth. Nothing. It doesn't matter if they don't know what river or what sea they're talking about. They actually know nothing of the truth. There is absolutely no genocide in Gaza. There is an army that has done something that no other army in the world would do. I've spoken to people in the British army. Their ratios are between 5 and 9 to 1. And, you know, Israel is putting its soldiers at its own risk by doing everything. And by the way, the terrorists are getting away as well. When you tap on a roof or send a text message, they know where we're coming, but we care about them. Golda Meir called it many, many years ago. If they learn to love their own children more than they hate ours, that will be the end game. But I will say this, end game is very hard because their end game is different. To make it very clear, this is not about land and this is not about religion. This is only about one single word, ideology. And the ideology, the overarching ideology, is the establishment of a caliphate. Israel is just part one in a Middle East, of which we are 0.2% amongst 47 or 49 Arab countries. But that's only step one of the global caliphate. Step two, this is their end game, because is why you asked the question. Step two of the global caliphate is absolutely without question Europe. They discovered long ago that there's two ways to conquer the world. One way is by war, and the other way is to buy it. And they have been buying it. They own 25% of British Airways, they own 25% of Sainsbury's. They've been putting money through our universities, putting their own professors onto campuses. The end game there is the establishment of a caliphate. The amazing part of that is that the people that are liberal-minded should be absolutely standing right here, right now, with us, not with them.
Anyway, sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You know, I don't take sides, but it's important for people like me to come out and engage with everyone. And that's what I'm doing today. But thank you very much, sir.
Would you like our end game?
Go on.
Our end game is that they wake up from the dream that they're in of establishing a caliphate. Actually look at all humans as equal, like Jews do, and not look at the rest of the world as the infidel, but actually just as humankind. And when Israel and Israelis say we wanted Gaza to become Singapore, we mean it. We want them to thrive and prosper. We want them to educate. We want them to use truth and give themselves a better life, instead of just directing their entire life to the death of Israel and the death of Jews. Our end game is peace. It's always been peace. Israel's always given land for peace, whether it was the Sinai and whether it was anywhere else. So that's our end game. And the vital part of that is the West and media waking up. As soon as you take the oxygen away from their fraud and their genocide and their lies against Jews, you take the oxygen, which is information and media, that will lead to an end game. So I hope, whether it's God willing or Allah willing, and I'm not a religious man, that they wake up.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, yeah. Thank you very much.
One of the best street interviews that I've seen in a very long time. Wow. Applause to this man for spreading all the facts. And I don't know what this guy's name is. If you can, find him in the comments below, let us know there. A lot of Jews are going through this, and I would say, if you can, reach out to your Jewish friends and say, listen, even with all the misinformation and the lies being spread about you, I understand the truth. For more, subscribe to this channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. That's buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Thank you, and have a good one.